Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Work Tech. I'm George LaRocque, and boy, we have some exciting news in the market today. As many of you have read, and if you haven't, let me be the first to share that SmartRecruiters raised a $110 million Series E with a valuation of $1.5 billion, which makes them the latest unicorn in our space. And I'm excited to have my friend Jerome Ternynck here, the CEO and founder, to tell us all about it. Jerome, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me, George.
Well, I have to say I knew you before SmartRecruiters, and it's been so interesting to watch the evolution of the company. And I think everybody in the space knows who SmartRecruiters is, but just in case, could you introduce what it is you're doing and yourself as well?
Absolutely, yeah. So SmartRecruiters, we're the generational successor to applicant tracking systems. We provide a hiring success platform that helps enterprises, mostly global enterprises, large organizations like Domino's or Visa or Bosch or even LinkedIn, manage their entire talent acquisition process, internal and external, with a view to achieve hiring success, which is the ability to hire amazing talent on demand, which has become increasingly important as it turns out.
Yeah, it's especially with everything going on in the world, and it's a great segue. I'm always curious when I see, especially a big raise like this, why now? And there are most of what I read in the release and in the coverage was about the business climate today. But so what brought you out looking for a Series E or thinking this is the time? What was happening in the market or at SmartRecruiters?
Yeah, so I think in the market we've seen a very strong acceleration of our growth of our business through COVID last year. Unlike many recruitment software vendor, we actually didn't furlough or let go anybody last year. And at the time I said to the team, look, our job is just going to become more and more important because we are in the job of matching people to jobs, like connecting people to jobs, and in this transition market, like this is our time. And so we really stood our ground and we accelerated through COVID, grew our sales 70% last year, year over year during COVID, right? Which really showed the potential and accelerating outside of the pandemic. What's really happening here, George, is that I think finally talent acquisition might be coming out of the administrative ashes. For too long, this function, recruiting, has been the poster child of what the CEO wants to achieve. CEO always says, I want to hire the best people in my industry. Oh, great. And then what do? They pass it to HR and they measure it by faster and cheaper. Cost per hire, time to fill, faster, cheaper, as if it's an administrative function. It's not. It's a sales and marketing function where you actually compete for the best talent. And if you get the best talent, your competitor doesn't. And I think the pandemic and the great rehire that's happening now, followed by the great resignation, actually, that's also happening. Right. And everybody's now remote. So what used to be a simple process for applicants who live within a 10-mile radius of your office is now a nationwide or even a worldwide competitive market, has finally forced executives to realize that, hey, maybe they are underfunding recruiting. Maybe this old ATS where they track applicants that nobody really uses, that has been there for 20 years, isn't the best way to actually compete for talent. And so we've seen a real acceleration of, well, I would say, finally, talent acquisition leaders are being heard, because the TA leaders have said that for years. But now they are being heard, and the C-suite is paying attention and saying, yes, actually, you're right. We want to achieve hiring success. We need a proper platform. We can't bury those processes inside the HR system or inside a 20-year-old ATS. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. So that sounds like it's opportunity. It's about growth. Are those the plans for the funding? Is it to fuel growth?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when investors, especially investors like Silver Lake, invest $100 million at a $1.5 billion valuation, it means their thesis has to be that this company could be worth north of 10 billion. And in order to do that, it means that this organization has to actually be able to to solve a big problem in a big market. And the problem we are solving is very simple. We solve recruiting. Like, we give businesses a better access to talent. How big is that? Well, it's a $200 billion industry, right? Altogether. And that is exactly what we are solving. Ultimately, honestly, I don't understand why it's harder to hire somebody in your neighborhood than it is to book an apartment for the weekend in Buenos Aires. I don't understand, right? And I think technology has a real role to play here in giving businesses a better access to talent and giving people a better access to jobs. Like, we would just want to make that process easier and better. That's the validation that this round brings. And that means more innovation. We're hiring 200 people in our engineering team. So with that, we will have 400 people in R&D, which is by far the largest innovation force in recruiting tech. Like, nobody has that much firepower to innovate, and it's constant innovation in recruiting. And of course, deploying more sales and marketing capacity in more markets, in more segments, because frankly, we are scratching the surface today. We're only covering certain markets and very selective about who we actually target and who we choose to make successful. We want to widen this footprint and expand to actually deliver hiring success to more organizations in more places.
Yeah, you said some things that I want to key in on a little bit. Around the valuation. There's so much investment coming into the space right now, and we're seeing unicorns are not as rare as they used to be, and some valuations are, exciting, and I wonder how do you deliver back to investors? And I think you're touching on some of that. It sounds like the product is going to expand, and you're going to go after some new markets that you might not be going after today. Am I hearing that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there is hype in the market for sure. There's not that many unicorns. Actually, worldwide, there's 700 unicorns and 1 million startups. So that gives you a sense of who makes it to be a unicorn. But in our space, we've seen a few. I think what's interesting beyond the hype is there is a lot of investment. Why? Because the problem has not been solved.
Right.
I have yet to meet someone who says, yeah, hiring, cool, piece of cake. No. Whether you are looking for drivers to deliver a pizza or data scientists to reinvent your matching models, hiring is hard. So the problem hasn't been solved. This is why you see so much investment coming in. Then when you look at the mechanics, I think what really got people attracted to SmartRecruiters is we are the system of record, right? SmartRecruiters as a hiring success platform, we manage 100% of the jobs and 100% of the candidates from all sources, from high to hired. So we're the system of record. And then on top of us, you have many different systems that are coexisting on top of SmartRecruiters, but also on top of HR systems. I think investors here may get into the hype. And I always question is like, okay, when you look at your company in a market, you're like, are they selling popcorns or are they running the amusement park? Right.
I like that. Yeah. And that's, I think when I look at SmartRecruiters, you've been at this for a while. You've got momentum. You've got a large global customer base. You've got a customer base across a few market segments. You've, as you mentioned, the momentum of increasing your sales year over year and having, a multi-dimensional platform, right? You're not, one-dimensional with an ATS or just a CRM or just marketing or just, you've got all of these things and more. Mm-hmm. It's, I think my observation is about the market as a whole. And I appreciate that you're so transparent about how you see the valuation impacting SmartRecruiters. So you mentioned the product. What kinds of things can we expect in the product now? What are you working on? Yeah,
so I think for one, back to market dynamics, we see ourselves, and we are a platform. And by platform, I mean we're building an ecosystem, open APIs, 600 vendors pre-integrated to SmartRecruiters, right? Mm-hmm. And we want to continue to be a really good partner to all our partners. Even sometimes we have overlapping functionalities, no problem. We actually we are the ecosystem on which recruiting innovation happens, and we are a one-stop solution for our customer. So instead of integrating 70 different vendors into your Workday system, you basically have one platform that plugs into Workday and that handles all the complexity for you, which is a really interesting proposition for HRIT. That's one area we continue to focus on. Other areas, we have our onboarding module coming up. We've announced this a couple quarters ago. We've been working on this. We want to reinvent onboarding, make it really nice and in the world of remote. So that's happening. We're investing a lot in talent intelligence. We manage all the internal mobility, employee profiles, and during COVID, we did a lot of work on that topic. And we're getting to a really good point of predictability of matching people to jobs internally, right? Because that has to be a priority. So internal talent intelligence. We're investing heavily into marketing and CRM, so giving more and more tools to recruiters to be smarter and smarter on how they attract talent, whether it's through programmatic advertising, campaigns, nurture campaigns, CRM-like functionalities, matching, like really arming our recruiters with like really good tools to attract great talent with amazing experience. And then the last one is automation. We acquired a chatbot company called JobPal in November last year. We've been investing heavily in automation, and we want to keep fluidifying the process, make the process easier and easier, so that our customers can scale, and that we see the job of recruiter evolving from being a reader of resume, a coordinator of interviews, and a chaser of feedback, into being a real hiring success advisor who's a business partner to the manager and has a lot of the groundwork being organized and done and automated, right? So we're trying to elevate the function here. So these are some of the areas of investment for us.
Yeah, just some of them.
Just some, yes.
As I said, multidimensional. And couple of final questions, or maybe it's one question, but I'm always curious about all of the constituencies. And we've talked a lot about the market dynamics here and product, but customers and then employees, how would this impact those constituencies, if at all?
I think it impacts our customers heavily. First of all, I would say thank you to all of them, to all the customers that have believed in us, that continue to trust us every day with one of their most important process, hiring. And I think this round is first a validation that you made the right choice. And we are emerging as the leader of a new category called hiring success. And we're going to continue to innovate with you and for you over the foreseeable future, over the next decade, to help you achieve the outcome for which you trusted us in the first place, which is hiring success, right? So we're really only laser focused on, we want our customers to be able to attract, select, and hire amazing talent on demand. Like if we can make that statement true, that would be great. So that's kind of our clear focus for customers. We're investing heavily into customer success, into our customer community. We're creating a hiring success center of excellence to do more primary research about what the success look like, share it. We released our hiring success masterclass, which had 5,000 people certified through the COVID time, which has been really good. And we have more and more demand of benchmarking across and really helping elevate the industry. Frankly, on hiringsuccess.com, independent of whether you are a SmartRecruiters customer or not, like this is industry level sharing. So that's one clear thing I would say to our customers. To our employees, the Smartians, as you know, we call ourselves the Smartians. Right. We have all these rockets and these planets, Mars, and so on. It's all nice. It's been an incredible journey. We worked hard through COVID. I won't lie here. This is it's hard. There is no overnight success with a big smile. Like this is a grind, but it's a grind for the right reason, because we know why we are here. We're here to connect people to jobs, and every person that applies every person that gets hired is one more positive outcome, right? And the volume at which we operate at the moment, like since we started this conversation, George, I would say, we get like 5 million applicants a month now, maybe more. We've seen the numbers are increasing, like literally 20% month over month. So it means since we started this conversation, maybe 100 people clicked on the I'm interested button, and then they crossed their finger. They thought, okay, this might be the right one, right? That's 100 families that are directly impacted, that are going to get a good experience or a bad experience and might actually land the right job. Like, this is who we fight for on the customer and the employees and the candidate side. And I think you find us internally to be very, very centered around this mission. And employees at SmartRecruiters are, I think, very excited. We have high growth plans. We are, as I said, we're hiring 200 people in engineering. We're hiring, we're more than doubling the capacity or the size of the company over the next year or so. There's a lot of job opportunities, lots of management opportunities. Anybody listening is welcome to go to our current site, because we're hiring a lot and we are nice people, I hope.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate that. Everybody that I've met and every time we've spoken is very mission focused, purpose focused. It's very, very consistent from day one. And I'm glad to hear you go there today. So
yeah,
I want to go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, my daughter does a good job at reminding this to me. She left to college this summer, so now I have to go without it. But for the longest time since I started SmartRecruiters, when I go back home and she wants to know if I had a good day, she always asks me the same question. And her question was, so Dad, how many jobs have you created today? Wow. And we have a small online dashboard where all the jobs have created by all customers is published. And we're like, oh, 930 is a good day, right? And in her eyes, she always brings me back to the purpose. This is why we are here.
Yeah, that's terrific. Well, I can't think of following that up with anything, with a story better than that. I want to congratulate you and the company again on this round and valuation and how this validation as well. And thank you, Jerome, for sharing the news here. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, George. Always a pleasure.